Welcome to the card review for 0 drop and 1 drop neutral cards. So let's get started. First up, 0 mana cards is going to be very easy. 0 mana, Wisp, it is a 1/1. This card is eh. Yeah, it's eh. I mean, it's a 1/1 that has no effect whatsoever, so it's very easy to deal with. And it only has 1 attack, so it's not like it's going to trade up into better cards if it does survive. Yes, it costs 0 mana, but so what? You're playing a card that is just a little turd. Like, so what if it's free? It's taking up a card slot in your deck. It's not worth it. So, that's Wisp. Yeah. That's Wisp. I disenchant every single one I get. That's why I'm done. Next up, Abusive Sergeant. He is a 1 mana 2/1. His battle card, give a minion +2 attack this turn. No, it does not have to be your own minions. You can give enemy minions +2 attack. This is useful for cards like Priest's Shadow Word Death for 1. However, it is noteworthy, when you end your turn, that attack will go away, so it's not like you will buff their minion and then suddenly it'll be able to attack you with that buffed attack for 1 turn. It goes away at the end of your turn, so yeah, buffing your opponent's minions is still harmless at best. So that's that one. Next up, Angry Chicken. He is a 1 mana 1/1. However, his text is Enrage +5 attack. We've been over this. Enrage means if it takes damage, even 1 point. The problem is this thing only has 1 health. Yes, it's possible to buff him. Like with Priest, there's Power Word Shield or Paladins, Blessing of Kings, but the chances of you getting an Enraged Chicken are pretty low, which is why this card is not used all that often. That being said, having a 6/1 Enraged Chicken is absolutely hilarious, especially if you can kill someone with it. So, all in all, Chicken's not a great card, but he's pretty funny. So, why not? Next up, Argent Squire, a 1 mana 1/1 with Divine Shield. Now, normally, you would think, oh, it's another, 1/1, kind of like Wisp, not that great. The Divine Shield actually really makes up for it and gives this card a lot of value. It's arguably one of the best 1/1s in the game, if not the best. Well, no, I can't say that in good conscience. I don't think it's the best, but it's still pretty good. Reason being, your opponent tries to deal with a 1/1, right? Well, the Divine Shield blocks that. On top of that, let's say your opponent plays a creature that has 2 health, right? And this only has 1 attack. Well, you can attack that creature, pop the Divine Shield on Argent Squire, and then he's left with a creature with 1 health, and you have a 1/1, which you can trade with it if he doesn't deal with your 1/1. So you can then force him to deal with a 1/1. So, Argent Squire is actually pretty good. Yeah. Really good 1/1. Or not 1/1. Really good 1 mana card. Let me make sure I don't miss any. Okay, these seem to all just line up almost, so I'm not going to worry too much about missing them. We'll just go over all the crafted ones and then over all the soulbound ones for 1 mana cards. How about that? Next up, Bloodsail Corsair. He is a 1 mana 1/2 pirate. Pirate is noteworthy. Kind of like Murlocs, there are actually ways to create kind of combo pirate decks, but they are very rarely used. Pirates are themed around weapons, so I mean, if you're creating a combo pirate deck, you'd better be playing against weapons or with a ton of your own. So, yeah, that's pirates. They're eh. Regardless, his text. Remove 1 durability from your opponent's weapon. If your opponent doesn't have a weapon, this thing is just a 1/2. It gets traded with by Argent Squire, or any 2/1, anything like that. So, I mean, he's not liable to trade with anything better than a 1-drop, and oftentimes the 1-drop will kill him anyway, so Yeah. Most cards that deal 1 damage in this game can deal 2 anyway. Like, it's really just a rather poor 1/1. Or not 1/1, 1-drop. Next up, Hungry Crab. He's an epic. So if you happen to get him, good on you, but I would never craft this guy. He's a 1-mana 1/2 beast. So again, in almost every case scenario, he's going to be like the Bloodsail Corsair. Basically a dead 1/2 that can't trade with anything but other 1/1s. Or, not other 1/1s, other 1-drops. That being said, there is a Warlock deck out there called Murloc. It basically uses Murlocs to just, you know, Zerg you, because Murlocs buff each other all the time. Hungry Crab comes in a lot of handy there because of his battle cry. Destroy a Murloc and gain +2/+2. Suddenly, you've destroyed your opponent's Murloc, and you've summoned a 3/4 for 1 mana. So that's pretty crazy. That being said, Hungry Crab is only useful if you're running it in your own Murloc deck, although why you'd kill your own Murloc is beyond me. Usually you can buff Murlocs to have a lot more potential than a Hungry Crab's buff is. And if you're playing against your opponent's Murlocs, well, So yeah, Hungry Crab, he's got potential, but that potential is almost never realized. So, I still would not run him in a deck, and I would certainly not craft him. Next up, Leper Gnome, a 1-mana 2/1. He's alright. His Death Rattle, deal 2 damage to the enemy hero. This particular thing makes him extremely good in aggro decks, decks that just try to kill you really fast. Reason being, if your opponent does deal with the Leper Gnome and kill it, they still basically get attacked by it at least once. So it's guaranteed to get off, you know, a bare minimum of 2 damage to the enemy hero. That's not bad. Yeah. That being said, having only 1 health, he still is rather easy to deal with. I mean, let's look at Argent Squire, yeah? Could deal with 2 of these things, potentially. So, yeah. Not bad in aggro decks because of the Death Rattle, but not an amazing 1-drop to play in a non-aggro deck. So, yeah. That's that. Next up, Light Warden, 1-mana 1/2. Whenever a character is healed, gain +2 attack. This card is okay in priest decks because, you know, priests are the only class that really does healing that frequently. Yes, paladins technically have more healing potential than a priest because they can heal their face for so much. But that being said, priests just do a lot more individual instances of healing, so this is only useful in a priest deck, and most often it's only useful against another priest deck. Most decks will have a way to deal with a 1/2. I mean, dealing 2 damage is not difficult. Look, Argent Squire! Woo! So, yeah, Light Warden's just only really useful in a priest deck. If it lives for that long. So, that's Light Warden. You can run it in a priest deck. I certainly won't discourage you from that. It has a lot of potential there, but Next up, Murloc Tidecaller. It is a 1-mana 1/2. Whenever a Murloc is summoned, gain 1 attack. He's good in Murloc decks. That's it. Like every other Murloc. Not good on their own, great in a Murloc deck. So yeah. That's that. Otherwise, he's just a dinky 1/2. If you play him in a Murloc deck, he's got a lot more potential than that, though. It is noteworthy, when a Murloc dies, he does not lose the attack. He gains the +1 attack just from the summoning, not from the Murloc staying on the board. So, noteworthy if you plan on being a jerk and playing Murloc against people. So, yep. Next up, Secret Keeper. A 1-mana 1/2 again. The text reads, whenever a secret is played, gain +1/+1. I think the intended purpose of this was to be played in mage decks or something. But people don't play secrets often enough in the early game for Secret Keeper to be worth it. Secrets are almost a late game answer kind of thing. in most situations. So, having a 1-drop to play late game to try to combo with secrets is not going to work. Yeah. Technically there's potential here, but not enough to make Secret Keeper worth playing. So, still just another rather dead 1-drop. Next up, Shield Bearer. It is a 0-4 with Taunt. This has a lot of potential as a meat wall, just to kind of stop opponents from hitting your face. Decks like the Zoo run it to protect their other creatures as well. But, I mean, if you're not using him to protect a ton of other minions or your own face in a, like, last-ditch effort, then it's not worth playing him, because he can't trade with anything. He can't even attack. He doesn't have... because he has 0 attack. And people can trade with him for free, so... yeah. He's useful as a meat wall in certain decks. That's about it. Next up, South Sea Deckhand. Hey look, another pirate. It is a 1-mana 2-1 that has charge when you have a weapon equipped. Yeah. I mean, if you have a weapon equipped, he's actually pretty good. A 2-1 with charge for 1 mana? That's pretty good. That being said, again, don't run him in any deck that is not a weapon deck. Like, there's better 2-1s to grab than this. And actually, we're about to review one. Worgen Infiltrator. He is a 2-1 with Stealth. This means that your opponent will not be targeting him or really dealing with him until you've attacked at least once. There are ways for people to deal with it, but I mean, most forms of non-targeting board clear don't come out until later in the game. Like, I think the only form of non-targeting damage on turn 1 is Arcane Missiles from mages. But... and Pyromancer, but still, that... not beside the point. That's 2 cards total. Out of a whole plethora of cards that can actually deal with this, so... this card is really good because your opponent will not answer it until it attacks again. And if your opponent plays a 2-mana card, most of the 2-mana cards played these days have 2 health. So this thing is almost guaranteed to be able to trade up against one of your opponent's minions. And oftentimes it'll just stop him from playing things. Because, you know, it's just gonna die and get a disfavorable trade. So Worgen Infiltrator, honestly, of all of the creatures that are 1-drops, him and Argent Squire probably top the list for neutral minions. They're both just really good. Next up, Young Dragonhawk. It is a 1-1 with Wind Fury. What was Blizzard thinking when they made this? I don't know. The fact that it has Wind Fury basically says don't attack opponent minions. Since this card only has 1 health, if it hits anything but a shield bearer, it's going to die. So you have to basically trade... you have to basically hit your opponent's face and deal 2 damage that way. Even then, that's basically saying this card is just a 2-1. So... I don't know. Except for it can't deal that 2 damage all at once. You know, it's got to deal it in 2 different increments. So if you're trying to trade with a 3-2, you can't do that. Young Dragonhawk is just bad. Don't use it. Next up, Young Priestess. A 1-mana 2-1. At the end of your turn, give another random friendly minion plus 1 health. This is kind of like a Blood Imp, but it creates more pressure on the board. That being said, it's usually rather easy to deal with. But it's still not bad, because it'll make your other minions stronger, and it's a 1-mana 2-1, so I mean... it has potential. And in certain decks that can protect it, it's very, very good. Typically it's used in rush decks like Zoo or Aggro Paladin, but... yep. Very useful in decks that play with a lot of low mana cost minions. So, that's Young Priestess. Now to go into the Soulbound 1-drops. Elven Archer. A 1-mana 1-1 whose battle cry is to deal 1 damage. Very useful for slaying other 1-mana cards. You will notice that a lot of them are, you know, 2/1s, or at least the good ones are. Except for Argent Squire, but that aside, it's useful to kind of, you know, clear out other 1-drops. So, yeah, it has potential. That being said, it's usually not played in favor of Argent Squire, just because the Squire's got the Divine Shield to do the extra 1 damage instead, so, yeah. That's Elven Archer. Basically, Archer and Argent Squire are pretty similar cards. Yep. Next up, Goldshire Footman, a 1-mana 1/2 with Taunt. Not that great. I mean, if you want a meat wall, go with Shield Bearer. And if you want to make trades, don't use this, it's only got 1 attack. Come on. So, there are worse 1-drops, but... I mean, like, Young Dragonhawk is about it, in terms of being worse than Goldshire Footman. He's just not worth it. Not worth it. Next up, Grimscale Oracle, a 1-mana 1/1 Murloc. All other Murlocs have +1 attack. Yes, it's other, not itself. Yeah, again, only good in a Murloc deck. Don't run this in anything else. Just don't. Otherwise, it's just a 1-mana 1/1, and that's worse than a Goldshire Footman. Next up, Murloc Raider. Note, I only have this golden because I play Priest so much, and that is a reward. Otherwise, I would have dusted this long ago. Anyway, it is a 1-mana 2/1. That's it. Good in Murloc decks because it receives the Murloc benefits. However, if you're looking for a 1-mana 2/1, I have better cards to recommend. Yeah. Moving on. Stone Tusk Boar is next. It is a 1-mana 1/1 with charge. Typically not that great. It's not going to trade with very many cards at all, except for 1-drops. That being said, it is very useful in Hunter decks. Oh, excuse me. I've been over this combo before, but I'm willing to go over it again. Hunters have a 0-mana card called Hunter's Mark. Change a minion's health to 1. You take a boar, which has 1 attack, and you combo that with Hunter's Mark. You basically can kill off 1 minion. So, useful in Hunter decks for that combo. That's about it. Yeah, don't run the boar otherwise, he's not all that great. Next up, Voodoo Doctor. He is a 1-mana 2/1 whose battle cry is to restore 2 health. Yes, this can be targeted on anything. Minions, your opponent's face, your own face, whatever. Voodoo Doctor's kind of eh. I mean, if you've already taken damage, that means your opponent will have an answer for a 2/1 on the field. So you're playing this into an answer for it. The battle cry is effectively useless, which means he's just a 1-mana 2/1. Might as well take the Murloc. So yeah, there's better 1-drops than him. Okay. It looks like that's it for 0 and 1-drops today. Hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah. Thank you for watching. Woo!